Ukrainian President Zelensky calls for maximum support from leaders present at the fourth summit of the Crimea platform.
On the final leg of his tour through Asia and Oceania, the Pope praised Singapore for its economic development, but urged the city-state to take care of its weakest too.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calls for maximum support from participants at the fourth summit of the Crimea platform. He reminds leaders that the war began with the occupation of Crimea and that its freedom is essential to lasting peace in Ukraine.
В тому числі завдяки Кримській платформі, завдяки всім нашим дипломатичним зусиллям, завдяки спротиву нашого народу, наших воїнів, абсолютно чітко примушуємо Росію до реальності, а саме до міжнародного права, до сили світової солідарності, а також до необхідності відновити для України повну справедливість і, зрештою, надійний мир для всієї нашої землі, для всіх наших.
The summit was initiated by the Ukrainian president in 2021. It focuses on efforts to reclaim the Crimean Peninsula, which has been under Russian occupation since 2014. Zelensky stresses that Ukraine will not trade its land, nor will it abandon its people. The Ukrainian leader also unveiled a memorial in Kiev dedicated to the victims of the 1944 Crimean deportation.
The United States and Britain pledged nearly 1.4 billion euros in additional aid to Ukraine on Wednesday. Much of the effort was aimed at bolstering the energy grid that Russia has repeatedly pounded ahead of an expected difficult winter.
Thank you for this participation.
We're announcing $325 million in new funding to help repair Ukraine's energy and electric grid. And we'll rally additional support from the G7 plus countries when we have a meeting of the Energy Coordination Group in the next couple of weeks. I'm also announcing today $290 million in new humanitarian support to help provide vital services like safe drinking water, food, shelter, medicine to millions of people in Ukraine and around the region who've been displaced by Putin's war. And finally, we're announcing $102 million in additional funding in humanitarian demining.
British Foreign Secretary David Lammy confirmed that his country would provide another $709 million in assistance and loan guarantees.
Russian aggression is on behalf of the British people for the horrendous civilian.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz rolled his sleeves up for a passionate speech in the German parliament on Wednesday morning. Scholz underlined the public's wish for serious politics rather than a theatrical performance after talks about migration with opposition party CDU collapsed on Tuesday. Scholz added that many people from other countries have helped the German economy, but stressed that the government must be able to choose exactly who comes to Germany.
Und weil die Sache so wichtig ist, will ich gerne und ausdrücklich sagen, wir sind immer noch bereit. Die Tür ist nicht zu. Wir würden das mit Ihnen machen.
Addressing the recent success of anti-immigration far-right party Alternative for Germany, AfD, during the two recent East German state elections, Scholz said that the AfD party is married to the past and trying to rob Germany of its future.
Führung ist nicht, dass man auf eine Barrikade steigt, mit einer wilden Geste Forderungen erhebt. Führung ist, dass man sich umdreht und die eigenen Leute zu einem Kompromiss zu bewegen in der Lage ist. Das ist Führung, Herr Merz.
Although Chancellor Scholz aggressively defended his coalition government's policy to welcome migrants, other EU countries such as Poland say the German government's decision this week to extend spot controls to all its land borders undermines Europe's Schengen agreement and could destabilise the EU as a whole. Liv Stroud in Berlin for Euronews.
In the end of August, Ukraine presented to the US a list of potential targets in Russia that Kyiv aims to hit. The list included airfields used by Russia to launch attacks on Ukrainian cities which are within ATACMS range. According to the Institute for the Study of War, there are 245 of military and paramilitary objects, and this list does not include the various field camps and new installations that the Russian military has erected near Ukraine to support Russia's war. So it is rather conservative and only identifies a portion of all the military objects in range of ATACMS. The regimental, brigade and division headquarters provided in the list are mainly relevant in how these objects facilitate training and serve as storage areas, since the combat units that are normally permanently based here are forward deployed in Ukraine. So even though Russia redeployed some of its combat aircraft from the airfields within the ATACMS range, and there are 16 of those in the area, it does not reduce the importance of allowing Ukraine to use ATACMS against hundreds of other Russian military objects, states the Institute for the Study of War, and it is unlikely that the Russian military has redeployed assets away from all the 245 objects to the same degree as it has done with aircrafts.
Pope Francis was welcomed by Singapore's president and government officials on the final leg of his trip through Southeast Asia and Oceania. He arrived in one of the world's richest countries from one of its poorest, Timor-Leste. During his visit, he praised Singapore's economic development as a testament to human ingenuity, but urged the city-state to look after the weakest as well. The pontiff called especially for dignified pay and conditions for migrant workers who helped build Singapore into a global financial powerhouse. Francis's visit will include a speech to political authorities and a mass at Singapore's National Stadium, which the Vatican expects to draw around 55,000 people. Singapore is one of the most religiously diverse countries in the world, and Francis is expected to encourage its small but growing Catholic community. The Pope will also hold private meetings with Singapore's President and Prime Minister. For many Catholics in Singapore, this will be their first time seeing a Pope. The last Pope to visit was John Paul II in 1986.
Police authorities in North Mitrovica say at least 4 people were arrested following the visit of Kosovar Prime Minister Albin Kurti on Monday. Kurti's visit to the town, divided along ethnic lines, was seen by the local Serbs as an act of provocation amid rising tensions in the northern region. 2 of 4 border crossings with Serbia have been closed after protesters on the side of the town where most of the ethnic Serb minority lives blocked the road and prevented motorists with Kosovo-issued license plates from passing through.
Mi sad imamo sporazum. Sporazum mora da se poštuje, sporazum mora da se implementira, ali Beograd ne priznaje sporazum koji je priznao, jer sada su uvideli da o velikoj srpskoj ideologiji.
Northern Kosovo, with a predominantly ethnic Serb population, has long been a flashpoint of tensions between Pristina and Belgrade. The tensions first spiked over the possibility of opening the bridge on the Ibar River.
Any decision in this respect must be taken through dialogue and in timely and effective coordination with the international community.
Serbian activists say they want Kosovo police officers withdrawn from the city. Some have also demanded that KFOR, the NATO-led peacekeeping force in Kosovo, assume control over the northern region. Serbian authorities say they will respond to Prime Minister Albin Kurti's actions, which they consider provocations, by Friday. But they have also said that they are ready to continue the dialogue in Brussels in the hope to join the EU bloc. Despite a 13-year-long dialogue, Kosovo-Serbia relations remain tense. Around 7 million students from elementary and high school are starting the new school year in Italy. It is only the first day, and parents have already spent a considerable amount on school supplies, such as stationery, bags, and books. School expenses are constantly increasing. This year, Italian families will spend around 7% more on school supplies compared to last year, according to Federconsumatori, a non-for-profit association. Maria Rosaria and Giovanni have already had to face an initial expense of around €600 for their 2 children, and this is just the beginning.
Le spese che invece sosteniamo durante l'anno sono, le classiche spese sempre di cancelleria, perché non basta chiaramente il materiale che abbiamo acquistato a settembre. Dopo qualche settimana dall'inizio della scuola ci arriveranno almeno 2 elenchi, quindi un elenco per ogni bambino, dove ci sarà tanto materiale da dover acquistare.
Parents say they try to save wherever they can, for example on transport costs, by carpooling.
Noi tante volte andiamo a prendere non solo un bambino a scuola, ma ne prendiamo 4-5. In questa maniera possiamo aiutarci. Di solito la famiglia ci aiuta per accompagnarli a scuola. Per le uscite molto spesso ci aiutiamo tra di noi.
Per bambini e ragazzi il primo giorno di scuola è sicuramente qualcosa di eccitante, ma per i genitori significa non solo l'inizio della routine quotidiana fatta di scuola e lavoro, compiti e accompagnamenti a casa, ma anche una spesa notevole che incide molto sull'economia familiare.
Patrizia is a single mother who has already spent almost €700 on her daughter Julia, who starts 6th grade today. Because of her low income, she will be reimbursed for almost €300 spent on textbooks. But she says she worries more than just on a financial level.
C'è ansia, c'è preoccupazione, anche perché la gestione è solo mia. Quindi vai avanti e indietro, portala qua, portala là, cercherò di farla essere autonoma, però le spese ci sono perché tra palestra, scuola, comunque ci saranno le gite, però è pesante, però si affronta.
Book prices have increased by 18% compared to the previous year. Buying books online or second-hand is becoming more common. Many families in Italy feel it is one of the only ways to face the expenses necessary to educate the generations of tomorrow.